As part of the M check, there are some checks which are much easier to do on the ground, and all of these relate to the major bearings on the bike. So the bearings allow one part to smoothly rotate inside another part, so they allow the wheels to spin smoothly, they allow the steering to spin smoothly, and they allow us to pedal smoothly. And so the bearings involved in those are inside the hub of the front wheel, inside the hub of the back wheel. So we've got those two wheel bearings. We've got the bearing that allows us to steer, which is called the headset. And we have the bearing which allows us to turn the crank arms and pedal forwards, which is called the bottom bracket. So we'll start with the front wheel. So when we're checking the bearings in the front wheel, we have the bike resting on the ground, and we hold the fork of the bike with one hand and the wheel with the other hand, and try and move the wheel side to side. So I'm trying to wobble this side to side and seeing if any movement is possible. If the wheel is okay, we shouldn't be able to feel any movement there. So can this wobble? No, it can't. It can rotate, but it can't wobble to the side. So that's good. And then we can check the rear wheel in the same way. We grab the frame close to the wheel, and we grab the wheel with the other hand, and we see, can it be moved side to side? In this case, I can feel there's wobbling to the side, so that needs addressing. So that's the two wheel bearings checked. And so one of the major bearings to check on the frame is the headset bearing, which allows us to steer smoothly. And the way that we check that is we put the front brake on by pulling the brake lever there, and we try and move the bike forwards and backwards. So as I rock the bike forwards and backwards, I can even hear there that there's movement in this bearing. I can hear the click as I move forwards and backwards. We need to be careful because this has suspension at the front, so we shouldn't be confused by noises that might be made by the suspension, but in this case I can even see movement of the fork inside the frame as I move this forwards and backwards, so that bearing needs some attention. One of the major bearings in the frame is the bottom bracket, which allows us to turn the crank arms smoothly as we pedal forwards or backwards. And the way that we check this bearing is we grab the crank arms and we try and wobble the crank arms side to side. They should be rotating forwards, okay? And especially if I lean over the bike and I try and grab the crank arms and I'm trying to rotate them to the side. So I'm trying to rotate them in this kind of way, and in this case there's a small amount of movement as I try and do that, which shows me the bearings need some adjustment or some attention.